the Wild and Scenic Film Fest, where there are incredible storytellers, including the extraordinary woman who's with me today, Marion Stoddart, part of the film The Work of 1000. It's such an honor to have you with us here, Marion. The Work of 1000 does an incredible job of highlighting the work of an everyday person who just says, you know what, the river that you live near, the Nashua River, was so polluted. And I know from having kids, when you have a family, you say enough's enough. So tell us about it, for folks who haven't seen the film yet. What happened? So you're living near this river.
We're living near this river.
The East Coast.
On the East Coast in Massachusetts, in Groton, Massachusetts. And the river was then considered one of the 10 most polluted rivers in the United States.
What kind of colors was the river?
Well, it depended upon the day. Some days it was red, and others it was green, blue, yellow. It could be whatever color the paper makers were using for dye to make their paper. So it could be any color.
And what was the community's reaction overall to this river that's your basic, a water source in your community?
Well,
is that toxic?
The feeling was that it was impossible to restore. But this was during the 1960s, and this was before there were any federal laws that prohibited people to pollute rivers and ponds. And so people accepted the fact that our rivers were polluted, and they did not think that it was possible to restore them.
And it was more than just the toxicity of the water. Is it true too that there were fumes from the river as well? And
there were fumes that peeled paint from houses that are close to the river. And the river was dead, and so it did stink. And you could smell the river from more than a mile away. And so the fish died and floated to the top of the river, and it was really just a mess.
Did you and your husband, about the river when you moved there?
Yes, we did. I've always been interested in water. In big part because I grew up in Reno and then in Fernley, with a desert community where water was very, very precious. And so when we moved my husband and I were married in Massachusetts, lived in Massachusetts, I was interested in water through the League of Women Voters. Yeah, so the League of Women Voters was really my education. The League was only one of two national organizations that were focused on water resources. So I learned a lot about the political process through the League. I learned a lot about water through the League because it was being studied on a national and state level. So I was ready.
You were ready. Well, that's interesting too, because that's great that the League of Women Voters gave you that inspiration and tools and exposure to be able to feel empowered to do that. I recall in your film mentioning that you thought of your husband as being this really smart, brilliant guy.
That's right.
And that you weren't necessarily the activist, the someone who you thought would be able to go and save a river necessarily.
Well, I never considered saving the river, but it's true that my husband is brilliant. He's a physicist. He's an inventor of nuclear medical instruments. And so I didn't know of anything special that I could do other than to support my husband in his work.
Yeah. So what, Marion, was the turning point for you? Do you remember the turning point when you said, enough's enough, I'm going to go outside of my comfort zone, and I need to do something about this? And if not who, it's got to be me.
Those weren't the feelings that I was feeling then. What I was feeling in my life was I wanted to make a difference. And I was feeling very guilty because I didn't know why I was here on this earth. And I thought, what can I do? What is it that I'm supposed to be doing? And I thought, I will never know what it is that I'm supposed to be doing. But what I will do is to create the greatest challenge that I feel that I can accomplish in my life. and I will commit to that. So I considered different things that I might do, and then I decided what I will do is to restore the Nashua River, because I felt it was achievable in my lifetime.
Yeah. I mean, that's just an extraordinary in itself, Marion, because I don't think everyone necessarily feels that way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where, like, you feel like you're here to make a difference in the world, right? And that you presented a challenge to yourself.
That's right. Right. And that's what that has really directed my whole life, and wanting to make a difference. And now through this film, wanting to encourage other people to make a difference, and to let people know that you don't have to be super smart or super anything. All you need to do is to create a vision of what it is that you would like to have in life, and commit to that vision and do it. And you don't need to know in advance how you're going to do it. And I think this stops a lot of people from taking action because they're like, oh, I don't know.
You keep thinking, oh, what you instead you have. I'm assuming you probably had a vision. You saw the river being clean.
Absolutely. My vision was of a beautiful river, and it was like it was before the colonists came and like it was when the Native Americans lived there, where it was beautiful, and the fish were teeming in the river, and the eagles and the ospreys were there fishing, and all the wildlife would come back, and people would be able to get on the river and in the river.
So as a result, well, tell us what were some of the huge milestones for you? Significant milestones.
Well, working first of all with people on a national level to get the Federal Water Pollution Control Act passed in 1965, because we would never been able to restore our river or any rivers in this country if we did not have federal pollution that mandated it, and also provided monies to help with the cost of construction of wastewater treatment facilities. So that was a real milestone. The second milestone was giving the states of Massachusetts and New Hampshire to create their water pollution control agencies. And it actually was the Massachusetts Water Pollution Control Act, which complemented the federal legislation, and again provided money, state money, to be added to federal money. So that was a wonderful goal was achieved, and required a great deal of effort on the part of thousands of people. So it was getting people involved, and people, positive people who felt it was possible, because most people at that time felt that it was impossible to restore this river, which was nothing more than an open sewer.
Yeah. And so you were able to have a vision and then help inspire thousands of other people to understand that it's possible that one person can make a difference, and inspire others to follow along.
Right. It was to enlist other people in the shared vision. And I think that was one of the most exciting and wonderful things about it, was finding all these new friends and supporters, because one person can't do this by themselves. You need a leader, you need someone to inspire and encourage other people to get involved. But there's tremendous power in numbers.
There is tremendous power. Do you feel like your work's been done now?
No.
You don't. So what are you doing now?
What am I doing now? Well, working to keep the river clean. Nothing is so good that it can't be better, right? And so to protect what we have achieved. And so my big goal right now is to complete what we call the greenway. And this is to protect open space along the river and its tributaries. And so we act as a sponge for pollution so that it will not enter the river. It would also be a habitat for wildlife and a corridor for wildlife to move along the river, and for people to have access to the river.
So that's a big goal.
That's
what
my goal.
Can we do, Marion, to help support your vision and goal?
Well, you can join the Nashua River Watershed
Okay.
Association. This is a group that we organized in 1969, and we have a wonderful organization that is educating people about the importance of protecting water in our watershed. And we have 32 communities in Massachusetts, New Hampshire in our watershed. So we're putting about 2,000 children a year on the river, and we're working with school children, and our feeling is that once we introduce these children to the river and they get to know it and love it,
and protect it. Well, I think you're doing extraordinary work, Marion, and just thank you for everything you're doing. My last question is, what would be your message to everyone around the world, knowing all ears are on you right now?
You can make a difference, and create a vision of what you would like to have in life, and then commit to it, and then you will do it, and it will be wonderful. So have a passion in your life, and I think that's the most important thing, is to find what you love most, and it's most important to you, and commit to it.
All right. Marion Stoddart, part of the film The Work of 1,000. Extraordinary woman, Marion, and we really appreciate everything you've done. Marion's won actually a UN award, and I'm sure many other things as well.
Yes.
Well, we'll keep our eyes out for your next milestone, Marion.
Okay.
I'm Elisa Parker. It's the Wild and Scenic Film Festival, broadcasting live here in downtown Nevada City. Thanks for watching. We'll be right back.
Okay,
That's
thank
great,
you,
Marion. Really nice meeting you.